How many times have you heard that story about the young guy who's in high school and he gets rejected or he gets broken up with by his girlfriend and then he starts going to the gym? He usually ends up in the gym, right? And if he does, he probably ends up getting in the best shape of his life. He looks more attractive, he's more confident in himself, and he's mentally healthier, at least after he goes through that corny villain arc. So all these positive things bred from an unfortunate situation. What started out as a low point in his life slowly turned into the highest point ever. And that would not have happened if he didn't have that heartbreak. And you can make the case that he would have found the gym anyways. And that may be true, but it wouldn't have happened the same way. The progress wouldn't be as fast and it wouldn't be as redeeming. Everybody has a story. The stories that go on to be known by many are by the people that turn their suffering into fuel for improvement. So today, I just want to highlight the steps required to turn your suffering into success. But it all starts with perception, because suffering isn't just suffering. People choose to perceive their suffering as nothing but suffering and refuse to use that as fuel for greatness. They do not realize that life is supposed to be hard, and the harder life is, or the lower the lows, the higher the highs that you can have. The only reason that we get enjoyment out of anything is because we're comparing it to something else, which is usually negative. How can we appreciate something when there's no baseline? The entire world is made up of like push and pull, good and evil, yin and yang, whatever you want to call it. And of course, there is a spectrum of nuance to all of these things, but generally there is a scale of like positive and negative. In this case, it's suffering or well-being, aka happiness. So when you look at something, you're unconsciously comparing everything about it to its relevant polar opposite that you know about to make a judgment on it. You're unconsciously comparing everything you see or do to its polar opposite in order to make a judgment on it. And this is of course based on your own personal experiences and biases. So for that high school kid I mentioned earlier, that breakup might actually be the worst thing that's ever happened to him. But to someone else who might have already gone through that situation earlier in their life, it's just a whisper in the wind. It's why our parents don't really care about our problems, because they aren't problems to them, or at least at that point in their lives. They're worried about like bills and money, and then we're worried about that guy or girl in school. It's two completely different areas of life and different problems associated with it, and none of them is more important than the other, but it's just our own personal experiences that kind of shape that reality. Going further back than that, when you were a toddler, you probably cried over stupid stuff all the time, like your pacifier falling on the ground or something. That was the worst thing that ever happened to you at that point. So my point is not necessarily that suffering is subjective, but that suffering is based on your current level of perspective. And that's what allows us to choose how we perceive suffering. So you can't control your circumstances sometimes, but you can choose how you perceive them. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find meaning in the suffering. DMX. So whether that suffering is intentional, like going to the gym, for example, going to the gym, you're putting your body through physical pain and you're destroying your muscles and you're sore the next day, but you're willingly doing it because you know it can benefit you. Or it could be the results of an unfortunate circumstance, like losing your job that you may not have control of at all. It's like a motivational push, a force compelling you towards greatness. Or at least it can be, but most people miss out on this opportunity by complaining about their situation rather than seizing the chance to make the most out of it. So what doesn't kill you makes you stronger isn't just a corny line from a song. I mean, it is, but it's also a really profound statement that a lot of people should start taking to heart. And if you do it right, this suffering is how you create intrinsic motivation. A lot of people, not everyone, hop on self-improvement driven by shallow and superficial motives. But the only ones who truly commit are the people who develop deeper intrinsic reasons for doing what they're doing. So the desire for a Lamborghini might provide you with some motivation, but it is the evolution over time and the gained experiences that often lead to profound goals. What started off as wanting a nice car might end up turning into you wanting to retire your mom. But this is kind of just a natural progression that happens with time. So here's how you can use suffering as fuel for growth. So you need to craft a blueprint or a vision or just an idea of what you want for your future. So crafting the blueprint for your future requires that you utilize your current or past challenges as your negative blueprint. So when you confront and understand what you don't want, the aspects of your present situation that are undesirable, you gain clarity. It serves as a contrasting backdrop that you can use to define what you do want. Having a clear understanding of your negative blueprint can create a powerful demand for change, and it becomes a catalyst for shaping positive intentions. And this shouldn't be too hard for us to do, because a lot of us already know what we don't want because we've been through a lot of suffering and struggle in our lives. So we can use that as our negative blueprint, and then all we have to do is fill in our positive blueprint for the future. And this mindset shift of using negativity as fuel for growth brings purpose and direction into your life. This is exactly what intrinsic motivation is, and it's the best kind of motivation. So tying it back to the gym, who's going to make more progress faster? The guy who goes to the gym because it's trending right now and he sees Sam Sulek in the gym? Don't hate me, I like Sam. Or the guy who wants to improve his life in discipline and he knows that it's possible through fitness? And I talked about this in my How to Take Back Control of Your Life video. If you're striving for something in your life without some kind of philosophy behind it, that motivation is probably going to fade. This is exactly what happened to me. I originally started going to the gym just to get bigger muscles and because my friends were going. I didn't have intrinsic reasons to keep going when I didn't care about any other part of the gym. I actively disliked going to the gym, actually. So once I stopped going with other people and I felt that I made decent progress, I was stagnant. I stopped going. It wasn't until I came back with deeper ambitions that I was able to get and stay consistent. I fell in love with the process and the idea that my future self would thank me for going to the gym early in life and getting consistent. And that was enough to push me to go and continue going today. If you want an actionable step for this video, I recommend that you take down a piece of paper or maybe just write it on your phone. It'll really help you. We're going to create your negative and positive blueprint. Take out a journal, figure out what you don't want. Chances are you might already know what you don't want because you're living it. Write down everything that comes to mind and be as specific as possible. This is what I do to reflect on any negative situation in my life. It's kind of just like a brain dump. Now, underneath that, determine what you do want. Picture the lifestyle of your ideal self and make this as specific as possible too. What kind of car do you want to have? What kind of living situation do you want to have? Are you going to be married? Your ideal, like what do you envision in your ideal future? Maybe you want to have a cabin in the woods somewhere away from civilization. So after you have these things written down, just compare them. What is the difference? What are you doing right now that is preventing you from living that life? So what are the habits and milestones that you need to complete to make that dream a reality? Having a plan is how you bring clarity in a state of worry. Without structured information or a system, you're shooting in the dark. Clarity, clearness or lucidity as to perception or understanding. You need to understand that and outline the path to get what you want in life. That, paired with the desire for your blueprint over your negative blueprint, is way stronger than just relying on spontaneous motivation. This is exactly why routines work way better than just going to the gym whenever you feel like it. If you say you're going to go to the gym this day, this day, this day, it's going to make a lot more sense and it's going to be a lot easier for you to make time to go than if you're just like, I'll just go to the gym whenever I feel like it. Because you're just not going to feel like it most of the time. And that it just applies to literally everything in life. If you have something that you're striving towards, having a system to get there is important. So another thing is just focus on the now at all times. It's the only thing that is in your control, whether that be your actions or how you perceive circumstances. To perceive circumstances in a positive light, you must understand that hard times are just a part of life. Reality does not care about your feelings. And it is okay to feel bad about something, but that's all it is, just a bad feeling. Don't let bad feelings take control of your mind and actions. And that is all for today. Again, link in the description for the weekly newsletter to get self-improvement tips sent straight to your inbox. Also, you can join the Discord to speak to me and hundreds of like-minded individuals and one-to-one coaching, all that type of stuff. Hope you enjoyed. If you're celebrating Thanksgiving this week, hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And with all that said, have a good rest of your week. See ya.